Hi there, I'm glad you're here with me. And if you're over 50 like I am, I want to invite you to pause for a moment and ask yourself something simple. What does your bedroom feel like when the lights go out? Is it quiet, peaceful, warm and cozy, or maybe still and airless? Now let me tell you a story, a true one, about someone I once knew. Her name was Helen. She was 74, a proud grandmother of 5, retired librarian, lived in a cozy little home on the edge of town. Helen had this habit. Every night before bed, she would shut her windows tight, seal her bedroom door, and hunker down for the night in total silence. And yet, she told me, "Doctor, I sleep through the night but still wake up tired. Foggy, like I've just been through a weird dream that left me more exhausted than before I slept." Sound familiar? It's not the dream, it's the air. See, what Helen didn't realize, and what many people over 50 don't realize, is that the air you breathe while you sleep has a direct effect on how well you sleep. You might fall asleep just fine in a room that's sealed shut. But here's the problem. Overnight, oxygen levels in a closed-off room can drop. As oxygen dips and carbon dioxide rises, because you're breathing out CO2 all night, your body has to work harder just to keep things balanced. Your heart pumps faster, your breathing becomes shallow, and your sleep becomes light, broken, dream-heavy. Why? Because your body is quietly under stress. After 50, your body's tolerance changes. Let me say something important here. When you were 25 or 30, your lungs, heart, and nervous system could adapt easily to minor changes in air quality. You slept through anything: heat, cold, a noisy fan, a packed bedroom. But now, after 50, after 60, your body doesn't bounce back the same way. Your lungs lose elasticity. Your blood oxygenation takes more effort. Your brain is more sensitive to anything that disrupts the balance. That's why a closed-off, poorly ventilated room, the kind that might have been fine years ago, can quietly chip away at your sleep quality without you even realizing it. The science is clear. There was a small study at Stanford not long ago. They looked at older adults sleeping in rooms with poor airflow. After just 5 hours, their blood oxygen saturation had dropped by 2–3%, and their heart rates were elevated by 5 to 8 beats per minute throughout the night. Now you might think, well, that's not much. But remember, if your heart has been beating for 70 years, every extra beat counts. Your heart doesn't need more work at 2 a.m., it needs peace. But doctor, it's too cold to crack a window. Believe me, I get it. I hear this from my patients all the time. But fresh air doesn't mean freezing your toes off. It just means letting your room breathe. And no, I'm not asking you to open your windows wide in the dead of winter. I'm saying leave the door cracked. Use a fan on low to circulate air. Invest in an air purifier if your environment is polluted or dusty. Remember, we spend almost a third of our lives asleep. And if you're sleeping in stale, trapped air every night, that's a third of your life spent in subpar oxygen. Helen's turnaround. Let me go back to Helen for a moment. After I visited her home, I suggested just one change. Crack your window just an inch or two. Let your room breathe. She tried it that very night. A week later, she called me. She said, "I woke up before my alarm, doctor, for the first time in years, and I remembered my dream. It was calm, nothing strange or chaotic." She hadn't changed her mattress. She didn't take sleeping pills. All she did was invite a little oxygen in. Your bedroom isn't just a place to rest. It's a place to heal. At night, your body does incredible things. It detoxifies your brain. It regulates your hormones. It rebuilds tissue. It rebalances blood pressure. But it can only do that if it's not spending half its energy trying to get enough air. So tonight, before you crawl into bed, I want you to do this. Step into your bedroom and ask yourself, Does this room feel like it's breathing? If the air feels stuffy, stagnant, closed, you don't need a new mattress, you need airflow, a gentle invitation. Open a window, even just a crack. Turn on a small fan in the corner. Let the night air move gently through your space. It's not about making yourself cold, it's about giving your lungs a chance to relax. Especially after 60, your body becomes like a classic car. It still runs beautifully, but it needs fresh oil, clean filters, good air. And sleep. Sleep is your fuel station. Give your body what it needs to run smooth. And part of that starts with something so simple, so overlooked: the air. If you've ever woken up groggy, heavy-headed, or just plain tired, maybe it's not the coffee you need. Maybe it's a breath of fresh air. Literally. In the next video, I'll be talking about alcohol and caffeine in the evening, and why even a tiny glass of wine or a cup of late coffee can ripple through your body in ways that cost you a full night of deep rest. But for now, take a deep breath, open the window just a bit, and let sleep find you in a room that's alive, not sealed off. You deserve that much. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever ended the day with a glass of wine, thinking it would help you sleep? Or maybe poured yourself a small cup of coffee after dinner, just to keep the evening conversation going? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. In fact, that's one of the most common habits I've seen in patients over 50. And I've been working with folks in that age group for over 3 decades. So today, I want to share with you the real story behind that evening drink or that quiet cup of coffee, and why something that seems so small could be costing you deep rest, heart rhythm, and even next-day clarity. The truth about that evening glass of wine. Let me introduce you to Charles. He's 67. A quiet, thoughtful man, retired civil engineer. He reads the newspaper with a pen in hand. He likes jazz, bird-watching, and every evening, like clockwork, he pours himself a glass of Merlot around 8:30 p.m. "It helps me unwind," he said. "I fall asleep faster." And he was right, partially. Alcohol can make you feel drowsy. It depresses your nervous system, slows brain waves, and yes, it might help you doze off. But here's what Charles didn't know, and what most people over 60 aren't told. That same glass of wine that lulls you into sleep will almost certainly wake you up a few hours later, fragment your REM cycles, and leave you feeling more tired than before. Alcohol and the aging body. See, after 50, your liver processes alcohol more slowly. That means it stays in your bloodstream longer. Meanwhile, alcohol also relaxes the muscles in your throat, which makes snoring worse and increases the chances of obstructive sleep apnea, a condition where your breathing stops and starts repeatedly through the night. Sleep apnea is dangerous, especially when it goes undiagnosed. It's tied to heart disease, high blood pressure, and even memory loss. Let me put it simply: that one glass of wine may help you fall asleep at 9:30, but it could be raising your blood pressure at 2 a.m. and waking you up at 4 with your heart racing. Sound familiar? It did for Barbara, 66, widowed, lovely woman. She loved her one glass of red before bed. She told me, "I sleep better with it, I swear." But over time, she noticed strange things: waking up sweating, feeling groggy no matter how early she went to bed, a fluttering sensation in her chest around 3 a.m. Turns out, her nightly wine was doing more than helping her sleep. It was quietly interfering with her body's ability to rest, repair, and regulate her heart. The hidden cost of evening coffee. Now let's talk about coffee. I know what you might be thinking. "Doctor, I only drink a little cup after dinner. I've been doing it for years. It doesn't affect me." But let me explain something. Caffeine stays in your system far longer than most people realize. In younger adults, caffeine has a half-life of about 5–6 hours. That means it takes half a day to clear out. But after 50, your liver breaks it down even more slowly. So that 4 p.m. coffee, it might still be affecting your nervous system at midnight. And it's not just about falling asleep. Caffeine also blocks your brain's adenosine receptors, the ones responsible for telling your body, hey, it's time to rest. So you might technically fall asleep, but your sleep will be light, choppy, and you'll miss out on those deep delta wave cycles that restore your brain. I had a patient, Janet, 70 years old. She didn't think caffeine was a problem for her. I sleep right through the night, she said. But when we used a sleep monitor, we discovered her REM sleep was reduced by over 40%, and her heart rate stayed elevated all night. Once she stopped her post-dinner coffee, she said, I feel like I've been sleeping on a cloud. Don't forget the sneaky sources. It's not just coffee and wine, by the way. Did you know dark chocolate contains caffeine? Or that many cold medicines, pain relievers, and diet sodas have stimulants hiding in them? Even decaf coffee has trace amounts of caffeine. Even one small glass of wine can be too much if your liver is already overloaded. That's why I always tell my patients, it's not about cutting everything, it's about becoming aware. Start reading labels. Notice how your body feels an hour after consuming something. Pay attention to your sleep the next morning. Your body's wiser than you think it's been trying to tell you, so what should you do instead? I never ask people to give up the rituals they love. Rituals are powerful. They bring comfort, rhythm, meaning. But what if we could keep the ritual and just change the substance? Instead of a nightcap, try warm almond milk with a sprinkle of cinnamon, chamomile tea or lemon balm tea, a magnesium-rich snack like a banana, or a handful of pumpkin seeds, herbal infusions like passion flower or lavender. And if you miss the ritual of a warm mug in your hand, use the same mug, just change what's inside it. Instead of a dark chocolate square after dinner, try a small piece of dried fig or a teaspoon of almond butter on toast. The ritual stays. The burden on your sleep disappears. The 2 p.m. rule. Here is what I recommend to almost every patient. Stop caffeine after 2 p.m. Limit alcohol to one standard drink and finish it by dinner, not midnight, not 10 p.m. dinner. That gives your body time to process it before the systems that govern rest and healing take over. A story from a skeptic-turned-believer. You might be thinking, come on, doctor, I've been drinking wine and coffee for decades, I'm fine. Let me introduce you to Martin. Martin is 71, former corporate VP, used to live on 3 espressos a day. One of them always came at 6 p.m., his evening pick-me-up. He also had a glass of scotch at 9 p.m. while watching the news. When he came to me, he was sleeping 8 hours but waking up like he hadn't slept at all. Foggy, irritable, a pounding heart some mornings. He called it just aging. I asked him to try 14 days without alcohol or caffeine after 2 p.m. He laughed at me, but he did it. Day 5, still skeptical. Day 9, woke up before my alarm, felt good. Day 14, I think my brain's working better. Is that possible? Yes, Martin, it is. Before you reach for that nightcap tonight, I want to ask you this. Are you sipping that wine or that coffee because it brings you peace? Or because it brings you habit? Because if it's peace you're after, let me tell you, peace comes more fully from sleep, from uninterrupted REM, from a heart that slows, a mind that softens, and a body that's allowed to truly rest. The kind of peace no beverage can offer, but a quiet body can deliver. You have the power. You don't have to change everything. You just have to choose something. Tonight, maybe that means skipping the wine and choosing herbal tea. replacing coffee with warm spiced milk, saying no to chocolate after dinner just once this week. Whatever it is, let it be a gift you give your future self. Your body is still capable of deep rest, even at 60, 70, 80. Let me paint a scene you might recognize. You're in bed, lights are off, the house is quiet. And there in the soft glow of your phone or tablet you're scrolling, maybe catching up on news, maybe checking Facebook, maybe watching one more episode of a show you've seen 3 times already. Just a little bit. Just to wind down, right? Well, maybe not. Because what you think is helping you fall asleep might actually be stealing the very sleep you're trying to find. Meet your sleep clock and how you're confusing IT. Your brain has something called a circadian rhythm. It's your internal clock. It tells you when to wake up, when to eat, when to sleep. And this rhythm, it doesn't care what time your phone says. It responds to one thing above all else: light, particularly blue light, the kind that pours from screens like your phone, tablet, computer, and TV. Even a few minutes of blue light exposure in the hour before bed can send your brain the wrong signal. It's still daytime, stay awake. And so melatonin, your body's natural sleep hormone, never gets fully released. You may fall asleep, but it's not the sleep you need. It's lighter, shallower, easier to break. Robert Story, the man who slept with the TV on. Robert is 70, retired firefighter, widowed, lives alone in a small house in Florida. Each night he had a routine: dinner at 6, TV at 7. Crime shows until he nodded off on the couch. Then he'd wake up around midnight, groggy, and stumble to bed with the television still on in the background. When he came to see me, he said, "I'm sleeping 8 hours, but I'm still tired. Can't concentrate, feel grumpy all the time." I asked him about his bedtime habits, and when he told me about the nightly TV, I didn't have to run a sleep study. I'd seen this 100 times. The noise, the flashing lights, the tension of crime scenes. Robert wasn't easing into rest. He was falling into a fragmented, shallow doze, his brain never fully disconnecting. Blue light equals melatonin blocker. Research has shown that blue light exposure within an hour of bedtime can reduce melatonin by up to 50%. Let that sink in. Half of your natural sleep hormone gone just from looking at a screen. It's not just about what you're looking at. It's the how, the brightness, the proximity to your eyes, the constant stimulation. Even just scrolling through photos, reading emails, or watching cat videos keeps your brain on alert. Stress hormones instead of sleep hormones. And it's not just melatonin that's affected. Let's say you're reading news on your phone before bed. Some headline about politics or the economy or a family tragedy across the globe. Your body responds, not with calm, but with cortisol, your stress hormone. And now your body thinks it's under threat. Your heart rate stays elevated. Your thoughts start racing. Even after you put the phone down, your nervous system stays on alert for hours. So you lie in bed, wondering why you can't shut your brain off. Screens and aging brains. That's what I wish more people over 50 knew. Our brains become more sensitive to stimulation as we age. What didn't bother you at 35 might keep you wired at 65. The bright screen, the loud show, the fast pace. It doesn't just delay your sleep. It also shortens the deep phases your brain needs to reset, especially REM sleep, which is critical for memory and emotional health. Long-term sleep disruption like this is tied to weakened immune system, increased risk of depression, poor blood sugar control, and even cognitive decline. That's right. Regular poor-quality sleep from screen exposure can increase your risk for dementia. And the worst part, you often don't notice until it's already a habit. So what can you do instead? You don't need to throw your phone in the trash. You just need to create a buffer zone, a window of time where your brain transitions from doing to resting. Here's what I recommend. Turn off all screens 60 minutes before bed. Dim the lights in the room. Use a warm lamp, not overhead lighting. Read a physical book. Listen to soft music. Stretch gently. Journal or reflect on the day. Try a guided meditation or prayer. And if you must use a device, say you're reading on a Kindle, switch it to night mode, dim the brightness, and activate a blue light filter. Even small changes help. One man's simple swap. I had a patient, Frank, 74. He used to watch old westerns every night to fall asleep. I challenged him to try 1 week of TV-free evenings. Instead, he played a few records from his vinyl collection, lit a candle, read the same Louis L. Amer novel he'd owned since 1972. He called me on day 6 and said, "I think I remember my dreams again, Doc. And I'm waking up before my alarm." That's the power of removing stimulation before rest. Tonight before bed. Before you pick up your phone tonight to just check something. Before you let the remote find one more episode. Ask yourself, is this moment of stimulation worth trading for a full night's peace? Because that's really the choice. You can numb your mind with distraction, or you can nourish your brain with real rest. You can consume content, or you can recover your clarity. And trust me, clarity at this stage in life is far more precious. You deserve a gentle ending. Your days may be busy, your mind... Let me ask you something simple. How do you spend your last hour before bed? Are you seated, on the couch, watching something, maybe curled up with a book or knitting, sitting still, winding down from the day? If you're like most people over 50, chances are your evenings are calm, slow, and still, which is beautiful. But also, if you're not careful, a little dangerous. Because here's what I've seen again and again. Stillness before bed is peaceful for the mind, but problematic for the body. Especially if you're over 60. Susan S. Story, the grandmother who sat her way into nighttime cramps. Susan is 67. She's a loving grandmother, a retired school teacher, and she has a tradition. After dinner, she settles into her favorite chair with a warm blanket, a cup of tea, and a few old episodes of her favorite show. Then around 10 p.m. she shuffles to bed. But for months, Susan had been waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning with sharp, painful cramps in her calves, sometimes even numbness in her feet. She thought it was just age. "Getting older, right?" she told me. But when we looked deeper, we found the culprit. Not disease, not medication, not food. It was inactivity. Hours of being completely still, followed by lying down, was creating the perfect storm for poor circulation, nerve sensitivity, and nighttime discomfort. Why your body needs a gentle signal. See, your circulatory system doesn't just move blood on its own. It needs movement, even small, to keep blood flowing freely, especially to your legs and feet. And your muscles. They don't like going straight from stillness into hours of complete rest. They tighten, they lock, your nervous system gets confused, your legs twitch, your back stiffens, and your sleep suffers. After 50, the tissues in your body, joints, muscles, even your veins become less flexible. And if you spend most of your evening in one position, your body starts to think that's your new normal. Then when you lie down and try to sleep, it doesn't know how to let go. The fall you didn't see coming. Now let me tell you something more serious. If you get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, get a drink of water, check on something, and your body hasn't moved in hours, that's where the danger lies. Because when your muscles are stiff and your balance is off and your blood pressure hasn't adjusted yet, that's when falls happen. I've seen it too many times. A perfectly healthy older adult, no major illnesses, sharp mind, ends up in the ER because of one bad fall at 2 a.m. And almost every time I trace it back to this: no movement, no stretching, no transition before bed. So what should you do? You don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment, you don't even need to break a sweat. You just need to remind your body it's alive. Here's what I recommend. 5–10 minutes of gentle bedtime movement. Sit at the edge of your bed. Extend one leg at a time. Rotate your ankles in slow circles. Flex your feet like you're pressing down on a gas pedal. Neck and shoulder rolls. Gently turn your head side to side. Roll your shoulders forward and back. Breathe deeply as you move. A short indoor walk. Around the room. Down the hallway, even just to the bathroom and back. Swing your arms lightly as you go. Let your spine unwind. Breathing with movement. Raise your arms as you inhale. Lower them slowly as you exhale. Do this 5–10 times. With intention. But I'm too tired to move, doctor. I hear this a lot, and my answer is, you're not too tired to move, you're tired because you haven't moved. A body that stays still for too long becomes like a closed door. You have to gently open it, let air in before it can fully rest. Think of IT as a goodnight hug for your body. Movement before bed is not exercise, it's a ritual, a way of saying, hey body, thank you. Let's release the day now. Just like brushing your teeth or setting your alarm or tucking in your sheets, this becomes part of your routine. It sends a signal to your nervous system. We're done now, it's safe to rest. Mr. Thomas, from leg cramps to peaceful nights. Mr. Thomas, 72, came to me with nightly calf cramps. He tried magnesium, he tried water, he even tried compression socks. Nothing worked. Then I gave him one small routine. Sit on the edge of the bed. Extend both legs. Point and flex his toes for 2 minutes. Finish with slow, deep breathing. He did it every night for 2 weeks, and when he returned, he said, "Doctor, I feel like I'm finally resting instead of just lying down." That's the difference a few movements can make. Tonight, before you go to bed, don't just collapse onto the mattress. Don't just sit still and expect your body to fall in line. Instead, stand for a moment, stretch, walk slowly. Circle your feet, let your body know. We're done with the day, you can soften now. You deserve a body that feels light when you lie down. You deserve legs that don't twitch, hips that don't ache, and sleep that feels like a full release. And if you forget, it's okay, this isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. And let me ask you something real. What time do you usually have dinner? And more importantly, what time do you usually go to sleep? Now you don't have to answer out loud, just think about it. Because if you're like most people I've worked with, especially over 60, there's a very good chance that dinner happens later than it used to. Maybe around 8, maybe even 9, and I get it. Life changes. Retirement shifts your schedule. Evening becomes the coziest time of the day. You've worked hard. You deserve a good meal. But here's something most people don't realize until their body starts sending mysterious signals. Your digestive system has its own bedtime, and it doesn't like being kept up late. Margaret story, the teacher who ate past 9 p.m. Margaret, 66, is a retired high school teacher. She now spends her afternoons helping care for her grandkids and her evenings making beautiful meals, hearty stews, rich pastas, roasted meats. She told me, "Dinner is when I finally get to relax, unwind, enjoy my cooking. Sometimes we don't sit down until almost 9. Sound familiar? But then Margaret started waking up in the middle of the night with burning in her chest. Sometimes her heart would race. She felt hot, uneasy, like her body was on high alert. At first, she blamed stress, then hormones, then maybe her mattress, but the truth was on her plate, or more specifically, when she was eating it. What happens when you eat too close to bedtime? Let me explain what your body is doing after a late, heavy meal. Instead of slowing down for sleep, your body suddenly gets the message. Emergency, incoming fuel, start digesting. So now your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure climbs, your pancreas starts releasing insulin, your gut kicks into overdrive, churning, squeezing, processing, and all this is happening at the exact time your body is trying to power down. It's like trying to sleep while someone's vacuuming the floor right beside you. No wonder your sleep feels shallow, hot, uneasy. The overlooked symptoms of late-night eating. You may not realize how deep the effects go, but I've seen it again and again. Late-night meals can lead to acid reflux, especially when lying down after eating. Nocturnal heart strain, due to increased blood flow to the digestive tract. High nighttime blood pressure. Heart palpitations. Restless legs or cramps. Frequent waking, even if you do know why. And in some cases, nocturnal strokes or arrhythmias. One of the most misunderstood conditions I see is silent reflux, where you don't feel a burn in your throat, but still experience airway irritation. Coughing or waking up gasping. Guess what one of the biggest triggers is? Eating within 2 hours of lying down. The aging digestive system. After 50, everything in your body begins to slow down. Your metabolism, your ability to process fat and sugar. Even the muscular contractions that move food through your stomach and intestines. What we call peristalsis. That means food sits longer in your system. It gets digested less efficiently. And when you lie flat, it's more likely to push upward into the esophagus or strain your heart and pancreas through the night. It's not that your body is failing. It's just asking for better timing. A classic example, Mr. Leonard. Leonard, 71, was a healthy, sharp-witted man who loved food. Every night he ate around 8:30, often with a dessert. "I've earned it," he joked. But he noticed something. He was waking up tired, no matter how early he went to bed. He had frequent heartburn. His doctor even found signs of prediabetes and elevated nighttime blood pressure. I asked Leonard to try an experiment. Finish dinner by 6:30, no snacks after 7, and if hungry, a light bedtime nibble like a banana or a few almonds. 2 weeks later, he came back and said, "I didn't know sleep could feel like this." The better habit. So what should you do instead? Finish dinner 3-4 hours before bedtime. If you sleep at 10 p.m., try to be done eating by 6:30. That gives your body time to digest, stabilize, and wind down. Keep dinner light and balanced. Focus on lean protein, cooked vegetables, small amounts of complex carbs. Avoid rich, creamy sauces, heavy red meats, spicy or acidic foods, deep-fried items. If you must snack later, keep it simple, keep it small, keep it soothing. A slice of banana, a spoonful of plain yogurt, a few almonds, a cup of warm chamomile or ginger tea. Let your last bite of the day be a whisper, not a shout. Why this matters more than you think. You might be wondering, is this really that serious? Let me be clear. For older adults, nighttime is when most health emergencies occur. Strokes, cardiac events, falls, even cognitive confusion. And one of the quiet risk factors for all these, poor nighttime recovery. And what undermines recovery faster than anything? A body that's busy digesting when it should be resting. Tonight, when you sit down to dinner, I want you to ask yourself, is this meal supporting my rest or delaying it? You don't need to give up your favorite foods. You just need to reconsider the timing. Because healing doesn't begin in the hospital. It begins on your plate and when you clear it. A small shift that leads to big changes. Let me ask you something that seems simple. How warm is your bedroom at night? And not just the thermostat, I mean the whole feeling. The layers of blankets, the pajamas, the closed windows, the air. Now let me ask a follow-up question. Do you ever wake up sweaty or groggy, dehydrated, kind of off? Because if you do, you might be dealing with something I call invisible heat stress. And it could be quietly affecting your sleep more than you realize. Harold Story, the man who built himself a nightly oven. Harold was 69, widowed, retired mechanic. He lived up in Michigan, cold winters, you know. And every night, without fail, he'd set his thermostat to 76 degrees F, that's about 24 degrees C, pull up 2 thick wool blankets, and wear long flannel pajamas. Why I like to be warm, feels safe, he said. But here's what he didn't like, waking up drenched in sweat. Morning headaches, restless sleep, feeling dehydrated no matter how much water he drank. He thought maybe it was his age, or hormones, or maybe just how sleep is now. But really, it was the heat, what your body really wants 18 night. Here's something not many people know. Your core body temperature needs to drop slightly in order for you to fall asleep deeply. It's a built-in biological trigger, a signal to your brain that says, okay, it's nighttime, let's slow everything down. But if your bedroom is too warm, or your pajamas trap heat, or your blankets lock in moisture, then your body struggles to cool down. And instead of winding down, your heart has to work harder to regulate your internal temperature. That means increased heart rate, lighter, more fragmented sleep, poor REM cycles, and for some people, risk of elevated nighttime blood pressure or heart palpitations. The science behind IT. There was a study at the University of Amsterdam that showed people who slept in cooler rooms between 60-67 degrees F, 15, 5-19, 5 degrees C, fell asleep faster, had more REM sleep, and woke up feeling more refreshed. Why? Because the cool environment allowed their bodies to do what they were naturally designed to do. Cool down right arrow, release melatonin, enter deep rest right arrow, heal. But if the room was too hot, even if they fell asleep, they never got fully restored. The silent cost of sleeping hot. Here's what I've seen in patients over 50 who sleep hot, without even knowing it. They wake up groggy, even after 7-8 hours. They feel anxious in the mornings, like their body is buzzing. They experience more nighttime bathroom trips due to minor dehydration. Their blood becomes slightly more viscous, increasing stroke risk. And over time, they say, I just don't feel rested anymore. This isn't aging. This is your body working overtime in the wrong environment. Fixing IT doesn't mean freezing. Now I know what you might be thinking. Doctor, I can't sleep in a cold room. I'll wake up stiff and miserable. I hear that all the time. So let's get one thing clear. I'm not asking you to be cold. I'm asking you to be cool enough. Cool enough for your body to let go. Cool enough for your nervous system to slow down. Cool enough for your brain to shift into healing mode. Simple changes that make a big difference. Here are a few things you can do starting tonight. Lower your thermostat just a few degrees. Try dropping from 76 degrees F to 70 degrees F, from 24 degrees C to 21 degrees C. Even 2-3 degrees cooler can make a big difference. Use breathable layers. Swap out that heavy fleece or down comforter for several light, breathable blankets. That way, you can add or remove as needed. Wear moisture-wicking sleepwear. Avoid flannel or polyester. Instead, try cotton, bamboo, modal fabrics. These allow your skin to breathe and your sweat to evaporate instead of trapping heat. Crack a window, even slightly. If it's safe, let in a little fresh air, even just for 10 minutes before bed. Use a quiet fan. It helps circulate air, keeps your skin cool, and can double as soothing white noise. I didn't know sleep could feel like this. Remember Harold from earlier? He resisted every suggestion, said he couldn't sleep unless he was wrapped up like a baked potato. But eventually he agreed to try. Thermostat at 68 degrees F. 2 thin cotton blankets. A short-sleeved t-shirt instead of pajamas. And 3 nights later he told me, I didn't just sleep, I rested, like really rested, first time in years. Tonight, before you tuck yourself in, put your hand on your chest. Notice your breathing. Is your body already warm, maybe a little flushed? That's not comfort, that's effort. Your heart is working, your nervous system is on alert. Your sweat glands are already active, and what your body is craving isn't another blanket. It's a cool, calm signal that says, you're safe, you can let go now. You're not fragile, you're TUNED differently now. Here we are, the final part of our nighttime health conversation. And today, I want to talk about something that might feel so ordinary, so automatic that you've never stopped to think about it. How do you sleep? I mean physically. What position is your body in? On your back, on your side, curled up like a cat, sprawled like a starfish. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The position you sleep in after 60 can quietly affect your heart, your lungs, your digestion, even your risk of stroke or nighttime waking. And if you've never paid attention to it, now might be the perfect time to begin. George's story, the loyal back sleeper. George is 73, retired truck driver. A man of routine, always has been, wakes at 6 a.m., eats at 7, reads the paper cover to cover. And for as long as he can remember, he's slept on his back. Straight like a soldier, he joked. But then George's wife began noticing something odd. Sometimes he'd stop breathing for a second or two, then gasp and snore loudly before settling again. At first, he brushed it off. But when I ran a sleep study, we found moderate sleep apnea, short, repeated interruptions in his breathing through the night. The primary factor, his sleeping position. The problem with sleeping on your back. When you lie flat on your back, gravity pulls your tongue and the soft tissues of your throat backward, especially as those tissues lose tone with age. The result: partially blocked airways, snoring, interrupted breathing, low oxygen saturation, increased heart strain, frequent night waking without knowing why. And even if you don't have full-blown sleep apnea, that slight narrowing can still lower your sleep quality and tax your cardiovascular system. But it's not just about breathing. Back sleeping can also increase risk of acid reflux, especially if you've eaten late. Heart palpitations, as the heart has to pump against gravitational pressure. Fluid accumulation in the lungs or sinuses. I've had patients tell me, I wake up with a dry mouth, tight chest, or pressure in my head. And when we dig deeper, it's not anxiety, it's posture. So what's the best position? Left side sleeping. It may sound like a small thing, but there's a lot of science and real-world experience behind this simple shift. Sleeping on your left side has been shown to improve circulation, especially for the heart, reduce symptoms of acid reflux and heartburn, improve lymphatic drainage, enhance brain detoxification overnight, support better breathing, and reduce risk of snoring. Why the left? Because your stomach and pancreas sit on the left side. When you lie left, gravity helps your digestion stay down, not up. And your heart is slightly left too, which reduces the pressure against it. What about right side or stomach sleeping? Better than sleeping on your back, yes, but not ideal long-term. Sleeping on your right side can put more pressure on your heart, particularly in people with cardiac conditions. And stomach sleeping often causes neck strain, poor spine alignment, and may restrict breathing in older adults. So again, left is best. But remember, any improvement is a step in the right direction. If you're a back sleeper now, even just starting the night on your side can help. How to stay on your side. But doctor, some of my patients say, I roll around all night, how do I stop that? Here's what I recommend. Use support pillows behind your back to keep you from rolling over, between your knees to keep your hips aligned, under your head at a gentle elevation to open your airway. Build a side sleeping habit. Start the night on your left side. Return to it if you wake up and notice you've moved. Reinforce it with soft rituals, breathing, stretching, affirmations. Eventually, your body adapts. Think of it as training your body to sleep safer, deeper, and with more awareness. A small shift that changes everything. George, remember him. He didn't love the idea of changing how he slept. But with some gentle reminders, a side pillow, and patience, he did. And a few weeks in, he told me, I still wake up early, but I feel like my body slept deeper. My mind is clearer, I breathe better. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when your body is finally aligned with the way it heals best. Tonight, as you lie down, I invite you to be aware, not anxious, just aware. What direction is your body facing? How does your chest feel? Is your breathing open and full? And if it feels right, try rolling gently to your left. Tuck a pillow behind you, let your shoulders settle, and say to yourself, I'm giving my body the position it needs to rest fully. You don't have to be perfect, just consistent, just intentional. Sleep isn't just time, PASSED, healing earned. And how you sleep matters, because in that darkness, your body isn't shutting off. It's cleaning, rebuilding, resetting. And one of the kindest things you can do for your future self is to give it the best possible position to do that work. Left side, soft breath, loose shoulders, that's your foundation. You made it through all 7 parts. Before I say goodbye, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something. If you've made it this far, that means you care. It means you're not just aging, you're aging with awareness. You're not just surviving, you're choosing to optimize. From your meals to your movement, your temperature to your posture, every piece of your evening matters more than ever now. And the beautiful thing, you don't need radical change. You just need small shifts, done gently, done consistently. Because sleep isn't passive. It's not just lying down. Sleep is the doorway to your next day. Sleep is where healing happens. Sleep is where longevity begins. Thank you for listening, for trusting, for trying. And if you're willing to start just one thing tonight, then you're already on the right path. Stay safe, sleep well, and keep honoring this incredible body that's carried you so far.